Well, hello. It's so good to be here. I'm just standing here seeing you, like really seeing you. Arissa Molyneux and Marta Page and Whitney Weiner and Kil Clark Elbert and Pamela Edwards. And, it's interesting, because of what I do, which is event production, I'm more behind the scenes than I am on the stage most often. But every now and then, I come out from being behind the scenes to talk to you, because the topic that I want to share with you today, what Pete set up, this overcoming objections concept, I think is so critical to any transformation. We've spent 2 full days on, let's do it together. We did presentation skills. We did radical duplication. We did social media. We talked leadership with Sylvester Stallone. And you're taking tons of notes, and you have all these amazing ideas about what you want to do. But to get the real transformation, you have to actually put ideas into action. And your teams are exactly the same way. So I want you to think about, Marina was just talking about this, what it took for her and Eric to create this virtual stadium in 60 days, from the ground up, from scratch, an empty warehouse transformed into this in 60 days. The amount of effort that took, and not just effort, but enrollment. They had to enroll their team. They have a small team at the end of the day. They had to enroll the studio. They had to enroll the tech team. They had to enroll Pete. They had to enroll me. I was not on board at that 60-day point. I came on board into that process when they realized they needed that next level to do what they've talked about, what make it world class, to bring in the best of the best to get the job done. And why is that important to you? Because you're sitting here taking in all these great ideas, and at the end of the day, Nicole Lim and Angie Gishel and Pamela Kawaguchi, what you're ultimately going to have to do is enroll yourself and enroll your team, and enroll your distributors, and enroll your recruits. And in order to do that, you have to overcome objections. I was actually watching room 211. They've been an active group this morning. 211, shout out to you. You've been watching your chat. And I was looking at, I think it was Brenna? Beth Ann. When Marina said, I get everything I want, Beth Ann said in the chat, can you imagine? Can you imagine getting everything you want? And I'm like, yeah, imagine that. I want you to imagine that. Imagine if you got everything you want because you always chose commitment over convenience. If you don't do that, how could you expect your teams to do that? How could you get your recruits to do that? It's all about leadership, which is what we talked about yesterday. It's not like unicorn hair and pixie dust. It's not how the stadium got here. There's no magic wand to make this all happen. It was hard work. It was going all in. It was taking a no excuses approach, not unlike what my husband and I had to do. We do big live in-person events for some of the best names in the business. Pete rattled off some of them. Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins, Pete Vargas, Eric Worre. We were the people who were behind Tony bringing UPW back in a virtual space. And what led to that? Well, March 15th, President Trump shuts down the country. We're a live event company. We were at a live event. And all of a sudden, just really quickly, this is fascinating. We flew into this event in Miami on a full plane. We left Miami on an empty plane. And I turned to my husband and I said, the world has just shifted. It was a seismic tilt. This will never be the same again. The same way 9/11 changed travel, COVID has changed live events forever. And that's what we do. So I looked at him and I said, we're going to have to move quick. We've got a full team, full-time people, 15 people that we love who are amazing at what they do. Do we want to lay them off? What would you do, Margie or Sunil or Vivian or Inez? What would you do? Do you just say, I'm sorry, events are done. We're done. You're done. Go find another job. I know there are no jobs out there, especially not in live events, but figure it out. No, we took the same no excuses approach that Marina took. And we said, we have an AV partner who has an empty warehouse full of equipment. And we have a team of amazing people. Let's go to the client who's going to have an event the first week of April and see if they're willing to do a virtual event. Let's just make it virtual. So that little event that would have been 300 people in Indianapolis, a very elite group of 300 people that get together every year, became for the first time in 4 years, not 300, but 1,200. We went from 300 to 1,200, and they went from an American audience to a global audience because of the power to pivot, because of the willingness to go there, to put it all on the line, to believe so much in what you are good at, in your purpose, that you are not willing to say, well, we'll just have to throw in the hat. It's not going to work. Instead, it was no. We are going to take a no excuses approach. We are going to save this company. And more importantly, we're going to save this industry. Eric, for those of you that got here through the video that Eric Worre sent out, you heard him say it. I was thinking of just not doing an event because we couldn't do it in person. But then I realized I could make it virtual. Well, the path to that, him getting here, you getting here, started with us being willing to say, what if? What if it would work? What if we did this? What do we have to lose? Let's go big or go home. It takes that. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're in the business of enrollment and you are in the business of re-enrollment every day. Now, I think right now what you're probably thinking about is your recruits. I'm talking about you. You. You're in the business of enrolling you every single day and then re-enrolling yourself every single day. Enrolling your family, enrolling your team. You are in the business of enrollment. And Robert Lee and some of you in room 211 who are prickling at sales, I saw some of that. Can we just get to the content? I'm like, you're in it, Robert. This is the content. Seriously. And I'm not trying to shame Robert. I get it. And all the people that jumped on that bandwagon, I totally get it. But if you shy away from hearing an offer, are you shying away from giving one? Because every day you're in the business of making offers, whether you believe it or not. Every day, content and enrollment are wed like this. And if you don't see that, if you put on your sales hat and your content hat versus seeing that they all go together, when you're doing you talked presentation skills on day one. When we did the presentation skills, I hope you got small presentation to your team, big presentation on a virtual stage. All the same on some level, right? It's the same thing. And I'm going to teach you what it is today because you have to understand how to overcome objections in yourself and in your team to succeed. You have to understand the art of enrollment in yourself and in your team to succeed. Right now, you have an unprecedented time, unprecedented opportunity, and unprecedented access. We have a global world. Global. Every event we've done this year was this size in person. I mean, we have the benefit of a lot of we repeat events over and over. We're good at what we do. Our clients come back. So I can look at metrics for 5 years, 7 years of events in person and look at this year. And guess what? Every one of them had more people and outperformed the in-person. Virtual outperforms in person. So if you had the blinders on, like, how could it possibly be as good as in person? How many of you think it might be better? If we had 40,000 of you, thank you. I'm seeing those hands. Thank you. I think so too. I love in person. We all do. But think about this. If 40,000 of you were in a stadium right now, those of you in the nosebleed seats, Eric would not be seeing your face. But here he is. Every single one of you, all these speakers talking to you, I see you. I couldn't do that if I were at a big stadium. So what's the power of taking off the blinders and looking at what you can't see? For a second, put all your own objections aside. And Beth Ann and everybody else like Beth Ann, think about, imagine if you got everything you want. Because you can. But it starts with you. There's never been a better time in history to seize opportunity. And especially for you. I hope you're getting this. You help people work at home. Are you getting that? We live in a COVID world where you don't have any certainty. You don't know if you're getting furloughed, unfurloughed, a PPE check, a not PPE check, a mask, not a mask, a president, not a president. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. But you can create certainty in the uncertainty. You can. You can do that because you can be at home running your business. and helping your people do it too. Your tribe needs you. It's not just about you. Get out of your own way because your people are waiting over here. They're waiting for you to show up fully and enroll them. You have to demonstrate it and lead with it and believe in it so that they will. If you know that you are meant for more, you personally are meant for more, I want you to put it in the chat. I am meant for more. I'm meant for more. I know I'm meant for more. I want you to understand what being meant for more means. You may not even understand why. I grew up in a tiny little house with a 9-to-5 dad and a stay-at-home mom on the wrong side of town, like literally the wrong side of the tracks. If you guys know that saying, living on the wrong side of the tracks, I literally lived on the wrong side of the tracks. And from a very young age, I always knew I was meant for more. I don't know where that came from, but I knew it. And my guess is you know it too. You heard it yesterday on the stage and the day before that from all these amazing speakers. See yourself in that. That was the gift of moments of inspiration. I hope you get that too. Why do we have all these people on the stage telling their story? It wasn't about them. It was about you seeing yourself in them. If it feels like we're working hard to enroll you, we are. We are. Because if you don't believe you can do it, you're never going to do it. And you're never going to get your teams to do it. Being more, being meant for more, is the ability to be more, do more, have more, and make more. Yes, Benjamin, I want it all. Absolutely. Be more, do more, have more, and make more. Be more clear, be more confident. Do more in half the time. Have more work-life balance. Have more time with the kids. Have more time to exercise. Make more. How many of you put make more first? It's not first. It's last. It's last. Because if you don't know how to be more, you don't know how to do more, you don't know how to have more, you are never going to make more. Make no mistake about that. You have the freedom to work where you want, when you want, with whom you want, from wherever you want. And you can align your purpose with your payday. I hope you see impact and income. They go together. Most of you, and I know Eric and Marina are this way, spent a lot of time getting to know them over the last few weeks, and every decision is grounded in what will the impact be. It's not just the income. It's not how much will we make. It's how many will we serve. You heard Marina say that. That is her goal, to serve as many people as she can. And my guess is it's your goal too. If you don't like people and you don't like serving people, you're going to have a hard time recruiting people. So my guess is you've gotten this to change your world, and then you start to realize all the other people's world you could change too. And make no mistake, when you do well, you can do good. Put that in the chat. When you do well, you can do good. It's not just about you. You're changing your family and generations after you, and for every recruit you get, you're doing that for them too. Sales is service. Sales is not a dirty word. I do not feel bad about trying to sell you anything. As long as I know there's integrity in it, I'm going to deliver it, and I'm going to create the what? The what? The transformation. This is Transformation Day. If you know that you can create the transformation, you should be ashamed of yourself if you're not willing to go there, to put yourself out there for your people. That is the essence of leadership. It's easy to be like, yeah, leadership. Yeah, more recruits. Yeah. But when it really comes down to the decision, how are you showing up? Why is this important? Because your teams are following you. And anything that you're objecting to, trust me, they are too. What I've learned from doing all these events over time, 16 years of owning this business, all of these events, Linda, I see you. All of these events is it doesn't matter what country, what niche, what market, what language. Human beings are the same. That's what Pete was talking about. I watch all your chats. I pore over them every single event. One of the things I most love about virtual is I get to see what you're thinking, because in a room, a stadium, you don't come over to me and tell me everything you're thinking, but you sure do it in the chat. And I love it. Let me tell you what your people are thinking. Quick show of hands. How many people want to know what your people are thinking? Your people are thinking the exact same thing that you're thinking. They are you. You have to see that in them. You are in an up-leveled version of them. They want to be you. The people that you saw on the stage, how many of you are like, I want to be that. I want to be beautiful. I want all the bling. I want those shoes. I want that dress. I want hair and makeup. I want that watch. You were inspired to be them. You have to do that for your people. And I don't mean bling. I mean how you show up. It's not what's on here. It's what's in here. You have to lead them. And to do that, you have to understand what their objections are. If you want to go from dependence to independence, you have to master how to enroll the people around you by overcoming their objections. Now, I will tell you, this didn't come easy to me. I literally quit the Girl Scouts the minute they said I had to sell cookies. I love the Girl Scouts, but the minute it was like, you're going to sell cookies, I'm like, nope, I'm out. That is, no. I love the badges. I love the little outfits. I do not sell cookies. Not happening. I was out. I was literally petrified at the thought of selling something. But I didn't really believe in it. And as I came to grow my own business, and I did this from scratch from a bedroom in my house 16 years ago, when my first husband lost his job and then kind of lost his mind and started drinking and never stopped. And I'm like, I don't think we're going to be able to pay our mortgage. I think I better do something until he figures this out and gets back on his feet again. Kind of waiting for him to get back on his feet again. He never did do that. And so I was like, I got to do something. I started, what am I good at? What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about live events. I'll start an event company out of the extra bedroom in our house. And that little idea turned into a multi-seven-figure business with my new husband, who's quite amazing. I'm so lucky. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, about how I got there. It started with overcoming my own objections. It started with being enrolled in myself. It started with getting out of my own way and believing so much in the value of the service I deliver. I know that when I help Eric and Marina be their best self, then they help you be your best self, then you help your tribe be their best self. I believe I'm changing the world one live event at a time, one attendee, one live event at a time. When I get up at 4 a.m. with a smile on my face, it's because I'm going to see all of you. And I believe that I have the power to change your life. I believe to my core that live events are the secret to the most powerful transformation. It's the gateway drug. If I can get you here and inspire you to see things you couldn't see before, Christy Dempsey, Giselle Blondette, Rebecca Ferris, John Oakey, Steve Fillmore, if I can get you, Alina Lesneski, I see you. If I can get you to believe in yourself, then I am changing the world, because when you believe, you're going to go help your tribe believe, and that's how we do this. It is the stone in a very big pond with a massive ripple effect. So let's get to brass tacks. If you're afraid of sales, it's because you don't realize it's a service. It's because you're afraid of the objections and you haven't even faced them yourself. I'm going to tell you really quick what the hierarchy of objections is. Any country, any language, any market, any niche. Do not think you're immune from this. Do not think it doesn't apply to you. You are not a unique snowflake. It does apply to every human on the planet. This is how we think about objections. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I can't talk my spouse into it. I'm too afraid to do it. I'm living in shame and self-doubt. In that order. I'm going to do it again. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. My spouse won't let me do it. I'm too afraid. I'm mired in shame and self-doubt. Why are they in that order? Because we've all gotten kind of comfortable saying, I wish I could, I just don't have the time. Oh yeah, I would love to do that. I just don't have the time. If I did have the time, I would do that. And in a COVID world, we're super comfortable saying, I don't have the money. Man, this COVID thing, I wish I did, but I don't. I don't have the money. If only I had the money. When I get the money, I'll do the thing. But wait a minute, how do you get the money from doing the thing? So how are you going to do that, right? A little trick, that money thing, right? And then right below that is a little deeper. Think about this with your recruits and the people you've been talking to. I'm kind of wary of talking about this, but I don't think my spouse is going to let me. Now, on this spouse one, can I have a level 5 conversation with you? Say, you're nodding, but I want to make sure you know what a level 5 conversation is before you agree to this. A level 1 conversation is like, how are you? Good. How are you? Good. A level 3 conversation would be like, how are you? Well, honestly, I'm not all that great. It hasn't been the best year. A level 5 conversation is like, how are you? If we're being really honest, COVID's made me realize I don't like myself, I hate my house, I don't love my children, and I'm not sure I married the right person. Like, seriously, I know some of you are living that. Like, COVID has either made you realize that you don't have enough time with the people you love, you don't love the people you live with, or you have no one to live with and you're super alone. You're falling in one of those camps. I wish I had more time with my family. Wow, that's way too much time with my family. Or wow, I don't even have a family. So a level 5 conversation is being unfailingly honest about that. On the spouse thing, and I'm going to speak to the women because I am one and because I've had to do this myself. And so I'm going to go level 5 with you, but you men are welcome to listen in too, because my guess is it will help some of you too. When you go to have a conversation with your spouse, or when your recruit goes to have a conversation with their spouse about going all in with you, the spouse's reaction is going to be 100% dependent on how you present it. So if you go to your spouse and you say, hey, yeah, I got this thing I want to talk to you about. And by the way, he's like watching football. He's not really paying attention to you. And you're kind of like in between him and the TV and doing this thing. And you're like, I've been thinking about doing this thing. I'd really like to do this thing. I don't know, though. I don't know if I should do it. I mean, I want to do it. But I've been trying to build this business and hasn't really been working out the way I wanted to. But I was thinking if I invested in this money, if I did this thing, then everything would be different. And he is like, no. You're not certain, I'm not certain, this sounds like a cult, that sounds crazy. No, get a job, let's make real money, this is not right. This is crazy. How many of you can relate to this conversation? Now, I want you to know, if you are approaching your spouse that way, or your recruits are, you are being unfair to your spouse. If you go home every night, or you're at home every night having dinner, and you complain about your network marketing business, about how much it sucks, about how much it's not working, about how it didn't work out the way you planned, and all they hear is a litany of how it doesn't work, and then you go to them and try and sell them on it does work, you've told them it doesn't work, and now you're coming to them uncertain and asking them to be more certain than you are. That never works. It never works. The way you have to have that conversation and be fair to your spouse is to say, hey, so sorry to bother you. I need you to turn off the TV. It's recorded. I need 1 minute of your time. You know how I've been struggling with this network marketing business idea, and I've been wanting to do this thing and finding a way to make money in this crazy COVID situation? Well, I found a way. And I really need you to support me in this. I hope you see how certain I am. You know I've been flailing. You know I've been looking for something. You know I've been trying to figure this out. Well, I figured it out. This is the thing I need to do. I need to do it. I'm passionate about this. I need to do this for me. And I hope you'll support me in this. I'd love your support. Will you support me in this? Because I need to do this. And if you do, I promise you, I will be more present. I will show up more fully. I will stop complaining every night at dinner about what I have and what I don't have and what's working and what's not working. I'm going to get people around me, like-minded people, to champion me so that you don't have to. You can go back to being my spouse instead of my business coach, which is good because you're not a business coach. We can go back to having dinner time conversation as a family. I promise you, if you support me, I will take us on a vacation at the end of the year when I make this money. I will be more present on the weekends. I will take the kids one night a week, whatever it is. You have to enroll them. And believe me, your recruits, if you lived this, for sure your recruits are, you have to enroll them in your bigger vision. You have to be more certain than they are. You have to ask for support, not permission. You have to ask for support, not permission. No one can give you permission. Only you can give yourself permission. If you are hiding behind your spouse, he won't let me. I wish I could, but he won't let me. If only I could, but he won't let me. So unfair to him, first of all, but so unfair to you. Only you can give yourself permission to grow, to leap, to transform. Only you can do that. Don't give your power away, and don't treat your spouse that way. Be more certain than they are. Hold the space. And I promise you, when you make that money, when you bring home that paycheck, they'll get it. And they'll get behind it. They'll get behind you. But you have to get behind you first. And if you're doing this in your own life, you're never going to be able to help your recruits not do it in theirs. These two things go together. You are their leader. You have to model this for them. So now let's get to fear. When you're afraid to do something, the reason you're afraid is because if you go all in and put your chips on the table and it doesn't work, then now you know you don't work. But if you keep dreaming about it, but you haven't actually gone all in, then maybe there's a chance, right? And what I want you to see is that like Beth Ann, you can do it. Like Marina, you can imagine it and you can do it. If you want it, you can have it. But it's up to you to do it. And you have to tell your recruits the same thing. Don't be so afraid. If you know you're meant for more, you're meant for more. You just have to take action. Choose commitment over convenience. Is it convenient to do it, or is it committed? Your commitment, it means no matter what, I'm going to do this thing. No matter what gets in my way, I am going to do it. It's easy to say, rah, rah, yeah, yeah, go team, go. It's hard to actually do it until you start getting in the rhythm of doing it. And I promise this for those of you who can't see this, who haven't gotten there yet, I promise you this. In the beginning, it's hard because it's like a new muscle that you're building. But once you start building it, you can't unsee it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you start stepping into your power and you start getting the results, there's no looking back. And you have to do that for yourself and your teams. You have to champion them to do that too by addressing those fears with them. They are meant for more. You are the path to that. You have to enroll them in that. Which brings me to the last piece, which is shame and self-doubt. And this is almost always because you're in fear. I've made a failure somewhere. Thank you, Beth Ann. You can imagine this. Changing the world, one event, one attendee at a time. I can imagine having all my wants and needs. Yes, Beth Ann, yes. If you fail, you are failing forward. You heard Alfred say it yesterday. I loved him and what he said up here yesterday. Fail forward. If you were going to be an entrepreneur, if you're putting your hat in this ring, Leanne Perkins, Michael Hayes, Melanie Russo, Susan Snyder, Lori Capping, I'm talking to you. If you are here now, it's because you are an entrepreneur. You're meant for more. There's no way you're going to get it right every time. There's no way. Of course there's going to be a failure. You're stretching and growing beyond your own expectations, beyond generations of people behind you who've never succeeded before. If you're like my family, you're the first. You're blazing that path. Of course you're going to have a failure. Of course it's not 100%. This would be the equivalent, I want you to hear me on this, of saying to a child who's going from crawling to walking, and they kind of teeter up and they take a step and then they fall. And then they pull themselves up and they take a step and then they fall. And you go, you know what? I've been thinking about this. I think you might be a crawler. I don't know if the walking thing is for you. Like, I'm kind of thinking you're going to crawl the rest of your life. You don't seem very good at this. You get up, you fall down, you get up, you fall down. Maybe you should just crawl. We would never say that to a child, but we say that to ourselves all the time. You had one failure and now, oh gosh, well, I must not be meant for this. It turns out I'm not meant for more. Maybe I'm not because I had this failure. And then you go to your spouse and complain about it and tell them you're not meant for more, expecting them to tell you you are. And it's this whole crazy ripple effect. And substitute for spouse, sister, mother, best friend, coffee talk, book club, college buddy, whatever it is. 9 times out of 10, the person that you were asking for permission is not qualified to give it. 9 times out of 10, the person you're asking for permission is not qualified to give it. It doesn't mean they don't love you. It doesn't mean they're not lovely. It doesn't mean they're not smart. It doesn't mean they don't have their best interest, your best interest at heart. They just don't know what they don't know. And you're asking them to help you make a very important decision on something they're not qualified to do when they can only see their own limitations. So you have to think about this. Time, money, spouse, fear, shame, and self-doubt. Which one is keeping you stuck right now? Put it in the chat. We said we were going level 5. Put it in the chat. that is most likely what is also keeping your recruits from coming on board or staying with you. Enrollment and re-enrollment. You have to make your reason not to your reason to. I don't have the time, so I have to do it. I don't have the money, so I must do it. I don't have my spouse's support, so I have to do it. I'm living in fear, so I must do it. I'm stuck in shame and self-doubt, so I've got to break the pattern and do it. Make your reason not to your reason to. That is the secret to getting to the other side. It is for you, and it is for your recruits. And now I want to talk to you really, really quick about the hierarchy of enrollment. If you understand the hierarchy of objections, time, money, spouse, fear, shame, self-doubt, the hierarchy of enrollment is enroll you, enroll your family, enroll your inner circle, enroll your team, enroll your tribe. Some of you are trying to get straight to enroll your tribe, and you've never done the work on any of these other things. They will never be enrolled in you if you are not enrolled in you. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but they will never be enrolled in you if you're not enrolled in you. You must be enrolled in you. You must enroll your family, the people that you live with, in your big vision so that you're surrounded by support. You have to model that for them. And your inner circle, your sister, your mother, your brother, your coffee club, whatever it is, you have to enroll them. Don't ask them for advice you don't want. Don't ask them to burst your bubble. Don't give them that power. You sell them on what you're doing so that they believe it too. You heard Alfred say that too. His friends were waiting for him to be successful before they'd help him be successful. That's what your recruits are doing. You have to be more certain than they are. The person who's most certain in any argument is the one who wins. In any argument. Again, think of children. When they want something, they are unstoppable, are they not? They will just go and go and go and come at you with a new angle and a new angle and a new angle until they get the thing. Somehow in life, we lose that as we grow up. Reconnect to that inner child, that needy inner child who wants more, who can imagine more, who's meant for more, and is unstoppable and unflappable in going after it. If you do that, I promise you, your recruits will come flocking to you. They will, I promise you. And if you don't, a day will become a week will become a month will become a quarter will become a year will become a decade, and 10 years from now, you'll be sitting here watching all the bling on the stage going, why does it never work for people like me? It does work for people like you. You didn't work for people like you. You have to work for that. It's up to you to do that. You earn your way onto this stage. Only you can do that. Only you can give yourself permission to do that. And when you do it, your people will start doing it too. They will rise with you. It's true. So I just want to close with a quick story that encapsulates all of this, because I don't want you to think I'm preaching at you. I'm preaching with you. I want you to know that I know exactly how hard it is. I told you I grew up in a tiny little house on the wrong side of the tracks and eventually ended up in a marriage with a husband who just fell apart. And it's not his fault. And also, if you've ever been in a situation like that, you know you can't fix it for them. And thank God I bet on me and I started this little business, because when it came time, when the writing was on the wall, and I finally had to say, I can't go down with the ship. I can't watch you stay like this. You have to either make a commitment to change or I have to go. And it ended up meaning that I had to go. He wasn't strong enough in that moment to do that. And I sure couldn't continue to support it. And so I made the difficult decision at 38 to end my marriage and take apart our life. If you've ever gone through a divorce, not an easy thing. You have to, all these things you work so hard to put together, you have to slowly take apart. And my mom came to me. I'd started this business, and it was still really small, but it was at least paying the bills. And she said, you know, your dad and I have been talking, and they at this point had moved to a little bigger house. And she said, we have a basement, and we could fix it up, and you could move into it while you're getting your life together. You could move in there. You'll have your own entrance. You can come and go as you please while you're getting yourself together. And I said, well, I'm going to move to New York City. I've been thinking about it. And here was the thinking in my head. I don't know anybody in New York City. I'd only been to New York City on a school trip once, but I really felt like I belonged there. And when my marriage was falling apart, I started watching Friends and Sex and the City at night. It was like my escapism. And what I realized is that my tribe was in New York City. I mean, those are my girls. Like, if they're in New York City, clearly I'm supposed to be in New York City. So I was pretty committed to this, even though it made no sense. So my mom says, Bari, you can't move to New York City. You don't know anybody there. It's the most expensive country, or most expensive city in the country. This is crazy. People like us don't do that. This is not a good idea. It's just, I know this divorce has been super stressful. Get yourself together. And I love my mom. She is an amazing human. And I would not be who I am without her. She is amazing. And she was doing that out of love. But she could only see what she could see. She couldn't see the bigger vision I had. She didn't think she was meant for more the way I did. And it's not wrong of her. I'm not putting her down for it. But from a young age, I had thought I was meant for more. And meant for more was in New York City. And so I said, Mom, I love you, and I have to do this. Because if I go to the basement, I'm never coming out. The basement is death to me. I'm not recovering from that. I can't go to the basement. And ironically, I ended up getting the most amazing apartment in New York City on Broadway. On Broadway. So my choice was literally the basement or Broadway, and I chose Broadway. And it was on Broadway that I built my tiny little business to the multi-seven-figure business we have today. And it's where I met my husband, Blue, who's the most amazing husband and the most amazing business partner, and completely responsible for all of the tech that has made virtual work for our company. It is our partnership together and our certainty together that has created that life. My mom was not wrong. I mean, my better way to look at it is she was correct, but she was not right. She was saying it out of love, and yet it was not right. Where are you seeing that in your own life? Where are you giving that power away to people who are correct but not right? Only you can be right for you. And this is what it looks like on the other side. This is not to brag. It's just real talk, level 5 talk. That little house is the house that I grew up in. Osage Street, Pocahontas Village, in Virginia Beach on the wrong side of the tracks. And that other house is the house that I live in today. The house that my husband and I bought with the money that we made based on our certainty from living in our passion. And now we get to help millions of people and give away lots of money, because when you do well, you can do good. But it all starts with you. And ironically, for some of you, you're having a basement or Broadway moment, because we're about to go into a break. And we have a welcome celebration to welcome all these new accelerators in. And I know some of you I talk to are in that moment of like, do I just stay in that safe little basement, or do I strike out for the big city? Do I go to Broadway? Don't ask other people to make that decision for you. Only you can make that decision, and there's no better time than now to do it. Only you can do the work, but you don't have to do it alone. And if you know you're meant to do this, there's no time like today to start. I say that to you because I am you. I have been you. And I hope I'm inspiring you, because I believe in that. It is the heart of transformation. Transformation begins with you, and transformation begins here today. If you know you're meant to do this, I want you to claim that space in Accelerator, because I want you to get the support you need to do what you need to do this year, to take ideas and put them into action. It is not by mistake that they're called execution workshops. It's not by mistake that we start with the month of transformation in January. We know it's the foundation that you need to get the job done that we know you need to do. And your team needs you to do it too. Your tribe is waiting for you on the other side of that decision, the same way that my husband and my house were waiting for me on the other side of that decision. And it's not just about the house, it's about the happiness that comes with living your best life. I had the best night's sleep I've ever had that first night on an airbed in that apartment in New York, because I was living on my own terms, because I chose Broadway and I left the basement behind and I never looked back. I want that for you too. And if you're still trying to figure it out, go talk to a member of our team. They're on standby to support you, not to sell you, to serve you. If it's right for you, come with us. Accelerate your life and accelerate your business. And if it's not, at the bare minimum, decide to do one thing differently and commit to it and stick to it. It's harder than you think to do it alone, which is why we created an entire program to create like-minded community and support for you. But if you can't quite get there right now, at the bare minimum, choose one decision, and every day, enroll yourself, re-enroll yourself, and staying committed and choosing commitment over convenience. That is truly how you get on this stage, and it's truly how you live your best life. 30-minute break. We'll be back, and we have a power-packed afternoon. Thank you for listening.